Another interesting note is that assuming that Jeff actually is in Thailand at the moment, it is nearly 3 a.m. there. So having a late night game for them. For Sky High, it's even worse. It's nearly 4 a.m. in Korea. We are underway with the second loser bracket semifinal. Jeff staying true to the NF playstyle, of course. I think he said before the tournament he'll play NF on beginner and intermediate, and then expert he might do some flags. Boru is a couple seconds in the lead so far. Extends the lead to around 3 seconds.
On different boards, so we'll see how that shakes out at the end.
Why did Boru have like a very early blast in the start?
Boru had I would say about halfway through they blasted. They still came up with the first win. Boru with another blast. Now desynced by 2 games. We're leading by about 5 seconds.
So Boru, yeah, well, again with a very early blast, but that essentially does not matter. He's on the final game. Now Jeff also moves on to the final game and has to set a really fast time to catch up. Does not look like it's gonna happen though. Boru takes the win.
Boru with a lot of blasts, but a pretty solid win there by about 10 seconds.
I've noticed that in matches, Boru tends to sometimes blast in like the very first few clicks if he just doesn't have the suitable opening in a board. But those blasts are very low cost. Of course, this
Jeff, of
is the
course,
case where
taking the
even
flag.
Boru knew Jeff's pick. It's gonna be int and F.
No surprise, the choice of format here.
Yep, let's see how Boru will perform this time. We've already seen him play an F once, and it did not look pretty. Maybe he's collected himself and calmed his nerves. Can do a better performance on an F this time. Unfortunately,
Boru
Boru
has
with
a
the
very
blast
late
with a
blast.
nearly solved board.
Yeah, Boru is looking a little bit faster than Jeff, but he's playing with almost a board deficit.
Jeff, for an NF player, hasn't been that consistent with no flags throughout the tournament as well. But hopefully he's sufficiently warmed up by now and will not make too many mistakes.
Boru finished their board in 21 seconds, and it took Jeff 25. So about 4 seconds per game. That is definitely Boru can definitely come back.
For sure, still not over here. It's an F after all, so I feel like it mostly depends on someone having a blast at some point.
Jeff only about 1 or 2 seconds slower than Boru that time. Leading by about half a game.
About 8-second lead with 2 games to go. Now final game for
last.
Jeff.
I think Jeff has this wrapped up.
Really taking his time now with this final board. And takes the win.
Just
So no
incredibly
surprises here.
clean play from Jeff here.
I think this is like with the boosted confidence of knowing you're coming up against someone who has struggled with no flags. So you have the confidence to not rush and to play as precisely as you can.
Looks like Boru
I assume,
remembered to turn off no flag.
yeah, and I assume Boru's pick is expert. Some issues with the lobby. Okay, we have a new lobby, and chat is predicting that Boru will drop off sub 40. Oh, I don't know what I feel about that. I don't think he can play consistently at a sub 40 pace. Oh, interesting start in the corner. Boru immediately seems to develop a slight lead over Jeff. Jeff is going full enough, even on expert this time.
Seeing them take very different routes through this board.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be completely different game now, gameplay. Since we have a flag heavy player and an NF player. And honestly, some of it now hinges on the 3BV of the board. Because if it's low, then that's very advantageous to Jeff. However, this seems to be a pretty average board. And
It's looking
Boru
pretty
is
close.
closing
Boru,
to finishing it.
slight lead. Has Jeff placed a single flag this tournament?
I think he might have been playing flags. Oh no, he hasn't, because in earlier rounds they didn't play expert. So no flags for Jeff so far.
Boru leading by 10 seconds here. Definitely not insurmountable.
Jeff is missing some logic. Unusual for an NF player, and he has a blast to follow it up. So now he really falls behind. Boru has about a 30-second lead and basically wins this round if he can finish the board. For a moment there, Boru also didn't see logic, but he took his time to figure it out and comfortably win.
So now Jeff
Definitely the
is going to
smart
get
play
a
there.
counter pick. And he is not going to be able to pick no flags again, so I have to pick something else. And then he's going to have to win
Okay, it's
this.
2-1 in Boru's favor, but Jeff gets to pick. Unfortunately, he cannot pick NF again.
Yeah. And even if he wins this, then Boru is going to get a counter pick. And he can go back to expert. Because I have no rules against picking expert twice. It feels a little
This
bit.
time we go with the beginner.
Fair enough. I mean, it's
Well,
probably
we've
the
seen Boru
mode
be
that
very fast.
advantages NF plays the most. We'll see.
Not only
See,
is
yeah, you'd
Boru
think that
fast, they set up the games fast, they do the countdown fast, just fast all around.
In theory, beginner is advantageous for NF players, but we've seen Boru play beginner already this tournament, and the pace was just crazy. As we can see, the same is happening in this game. Boru already pulls ahead by about 3 to 4 seconds.
Just one game right now.
Had a little hiccup with the previous game, Boru. Still in the lead.
Boru's lead was growing, but that blast might hurt a little bit. Incredibly close. We're about halfway through, and they're on the same board, the same game rather.
Oh, Jeff has caught up, yeah. Boru with some very quick solves now. He seems to be extending the lead a little bit.
Boru looking really solid here. They're on their
Reaching
last
the
board.
final game. And takes the win.
Wow, a 2-second game.
It was like a 3 or 4 3v to be fair.
Oh, GG's. Jeff got the nerf flag counter pick, but the other modes, Boru was too
Sorry,
much
Jeff
for him.
got what? I think you cut out, Kuraga.
Jeff got the nerf flag counter pick, but on the other modes, Boru was too strong, and takes a 3-1 victory.